In a move to minimize the impact of COVID-19, many brands and businesses are moving online. Amid news of major retail closures around the world, department stores, malls, and other traditional retailers in Singapore are making the switch to go digital. One of them is CapitaLand Malls.
It has always been one of the strategies that we have to be both online and offline. And it wasn't just because of COVID, right, that we decided to just quickly come up with a solution for the months of the circuit breaker. All about 2 years ago, we have launched a platform which is called the Nomads, whereby they have at Plaza Singapura a physical store, but complemented with an online platform. So that was an experiment which we started. But during those 2 years, probably before the COVID situation, the onboarding of tenants was probably not as aggressive and fast. But with what's happening in the recent months, definitely we see a lot more interest, and that's when we also decided to basically use the same kind of engine and then expand it further and launch the eCapital Mall platform.
Since launching, CapitaLand's eCapital Mall and food ordering platform Capita Treats have signed on more than 280 online merchants and are on track to get on board 500 online merchants by the end of the year. Many retailers are also collaborating with third-party e-commerce players like Q10 and Shopee. One of the biggest platforms is Lazada. From January to May this year, Lazada onboarded 8 times the number of sellers it did in the same period last year.
E-commerce, if you look at kind of how we started back in 2012, we started with a different type of customer base. It was the early adopters, those who are more tech savvy, I would say, right? But as e-commerce becomes more and more mainstream, now we're looking at practically all different sorts of age, and ethnic background and genders, taking part in shopping online. It has become something that is widely adopted, and also brands and the retailers see that, and they see that their market being addressed by e-commerce.
Phase 2 of Singapore's reopening began 1 month ago, though physical stores have reported a decrease in footfall in spite of the lifted restrictions.
COVID acted as a catalyst to have a lot of the brands and the retailers kind of make that jump, I would say, to come online. But this shift has been going on for a while.
Robinsons, Marks & Spencer, Popular Bookstore, and Mothercare are a few of the stores to onboard with Lazada in April. Robinsons and Marks & Spencer had more than 300,000 visits to their pages within the first month, while Metro has seen its traffic triple since onboarding in November.
In the last few months of circuit breaking measures, if the customer behavior, the new customers, so the existing customers are already well progressed, but if the behaviors hadn't changed, it has remained a search-based behavior and execution-based behavior, one could imagine that once the offline malls open, those sales and the traffic would go offline. But because the behavior has changed to a browsing behavior and also engaging behavior, we've seen that now we're into about just slightly over 2 weeks of going to a phase 2 of easing for circuit breaking measures. Still, the traffic is very high and also transactions are high. So we've seen that behavior and the adoption of shopping online has really instilled in this period.
While the need to adjust business operations has become more critical, retailers appear to be taking the shift in their stride.
The retail industry is always a cyclical business. So whether it was because of COVID, whether when you look at, in the 80s, the 90s, the millennial years, retail is always constantly changing. There will always be new trends, new ways of doing things. We are all shoppers, and we're never going to be just 100% online or 100% offline, right? Different products, different kind of channels of reaching out. And it is up to the retailers, it is up to ourselves to adapt, to change, and to fit to the convenience of the consumers.
As the COVID-19 crisis continues to impact the world, it seems that for businesses, having storefronts both online and offline will be the new normal.